Imagine you're standing on the edge of a frozen lake. The air is perfectly still. The world feels like a photograph frozen in time. You pick up a stone, heavy, cold, and solid, and you hurl it across the ice. In our physical world, the result is instantaneous. You hear the crack. You see the shards of ice scatter. You see the ripples if the ice is thin. This is the foundation of our survival. If I touch fire, I get burned. If I push a door, it opens. Cause and effect are obvious. But what happens when the stone you throw is not material? What if that stone is a calculated lie that ruins a life? Or an act of profound, selfless kindness performed in the total darkness where no one can see? Does that energy simply vanish? Does it dissolve into the vacuum of the universe without leaving a trace? For centuries, humanity has used one word to describe this process: karma. We've grown used to thinking of it as something mystical, a religious idea of cosmic justice, or a moral ledger kept by the heavens. But today, the lines between the laboratory and the temple are blurring. We are entering an era where what we once called destiny is revealed to be the result of quantum entanglement, an era where your every action is governed by Newton's third law on a subatomic scale. Welcome to the science of the soul. This isn't just philosophy, this is the physics of you. Let's start with the bedrock of classical physics. In 1687, Isaac Newton formulated his famous third law of motion. F1 equals minus F2. For every action, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. In a sterile laboratory, it's simple. You push a wall, and the wall pushes back against your palm with the exact same force. But let's expand the scale. Let's apply this to systems theory. If we view the entire universe as a single closed energetic system, then no force can be exerted without an equivalent response from the system. The energetic echo: when you create a negative situation, whether it's a conflict rooted in greed or physical harm, you're injecting a specific vector of energy into the total system. According to the law of conservation of energy, that energy cannot simply evaporate. It must be balanced. In physics, this is called equilibrium. In the human experience, we call it the feedback loop. You aren't being punished by a judgmental God. You're simply caught in the inevitable return swing of the pendulum that you pushed. The world is not a chaotic collection of random collisions. It is a sophisticated, self-regulating web. Every decision is an impulse. If the system receives a destabilizing blow, its fundamental nature seeks to restore balance. But if Newton explains the push, quantum mechanics explains why that push always finds its way back to you. In 1935, Albert Einstein, along with Boris Podolsky and Nathan Rosen, described a phenomenon that Einstein later skeptically called spooky action at a distance. He was talking about quantum entanglement. The concept is mind-bending. Two particles can become entangled. From that moment on, no matter how far apart they are, whether they are an inch apart or on opposite sides of the galaxy, changing the state of one particle instantly changes the state of the other. The legacy of the Big Bang now. Take a step back to the very beginning. According to the Big Bang theory, all matter, all energy, and all of space-time originated from a single point, a singularity. If everything in existence originated from the same source, then, on a fundamental level, every particle in the universe remains entangled with every other particle. When you interact with another person, you aren't interacting with an external object. You're interacting with a part of the same quantum web to which you belong. In this model, there is no over there. There is only here. This provides the scientific foundation for the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you harm another, you're literally destabilizing your own quantum signature. You cannot strike one part of the spiderweb without vibrating the very point where you sit. Karma isn't external retribution. It is the internal reaction of your own extended system.
Critics might say, particles are one thing, but human consciousness and morality are another. But this is where Sir Roger Penrose, Nobel laureate in physics, and his colleague Dr. Stuart Hameroff enter the stage. Their theory, known as ORC-OR, orchestrated objective reduction, suggests that consciousness is not just a byproduct of chemical reactions in the brain. They discovered tiny structures inside our neurons called microtubules. Microtubules as quantum resonators. These microtubules aren't just the skeleton of the cell. Penrose believes they function as quantum computers. Consciousness itself arises from quantum vibrations within these tubes. Why does this matter for karma? Thoughts as physical events. Your intentions and thoughts aren't ethereal ghosts. They are quantum events that interface with the fundamental geometry of space-time, broadcasting into reality. If your consciousness operates on a quantum level, you are literally broadcasting your state into the fabric of the universe. The quantum footprint, your karma, is the cumulative quantum footprint you leave behind. The universe, like a massive biological supercomputer, is constantly recalculating itself to accommodate the noise or the harmony you create. If everything is so interconnected, does it mean we are slaves to our past mistakes? This is the most beautiful part of the quantum approach. Unlike the rigid clockwork world of Newton, the quantum world is a world of probability. Nothing is set in stone until the moment of observation. This is called the collapse of the wave function. Choosing your frequency. Your destiny is not written in ink. It exists as a superposition of infinite possibilities. Low frequency. Anger, deceit, and violence create friction in the quantum field. This narrows your probabilities to scenarios full of conflict and obstacles. High frequency. Compassion and honesty create coherence. This opens access to more favorable quantum outcomes. Karma is not a death sentence. It is a feedback system. It is the universe's way of saying, this path leads to a breakdown of the structure. Try another. You aren't punished for your sins. You are punished by them, through the natural resistance of the environment. How do we apply this today? If we accept that we are quantum beings in an entangled universe, our actions must become more intentional. Observing intent. Since intent precedes the quantum collapse, the purity of your thoughts matters more than you think. Physics tells us the vector matters. Harmonizing the network. By helping another, you are literally repairing a section of the network you are entangled with. This isn't just altruism, it's quantum hygiene. Breaking the inertia. To stop bad karma, you must break the cycle of Newtonian reaction. Instead of striking back, you absorb the energy and transform it, changing the vector of the entire system. We started at the frozen lake. Now, look at it again. But this time, imagine that this lake is all of space and time. And you are not just a passerby. You are the source of the vibrations. The science of the soul tells us that we are not small, isolated creatures trying to survive in a cold cosmos. We are active participants in a grand calculation of reality. Every breath, every kind word, and every decision to be honest sends a signal that travels through the microtubules of your brain, connects with distant stars through quantum entanglement, and eventually finds its way back to you. This isn't mysticism. These are the laws of conservation. This is the physics of you. Remember, you are a ripple in an infinite ocean. Make sure the wave you send out today is one you will be happy to meet when it finally returns to your shore.